The sun peeked over the trees. It was a beautiful morning in the whispering forest. The leaves danced in the gentle breeze. Birds sang sweet songs. Everything was peaceful and calm. The whispering forest was a special place. It was filled with all kinds of animals. They lived together in harmony. And every day was a new adventure. Could you close your eyes for a moment? Imagine you are in the whispering forest. Can you hear the leaves rustling? Can you feel the warm sun on your face? It's a wonderful place to be, isn't it? Let's continue our story and see who we meet in this magical forest. Felix was a small fox with bright, curious eyes. He loved to explore the forest. Every day he would scamper through the trees. Felix had a secret. He carried a pouch full of shiny stones. He found them by the river. The stones sparkled in the sunlight.
I love my shiny stones. They seem to hold a tiny bit of magic. They make me feel brave. I have a feeling they will be important one day.
Felix loved his shiny stones. He would often take them out and look at them. One afternoon, the sky turned dark. The wind howled through the trees. A terrible storm came to the whispering forest. The animals ran for cover. They had never seen a storm this bad. The rain came down in sheets. Thunder roared.
Who? Help! The wind is ripping at my home! Who?
The great owl, the wisest of all the animals, was caught in his nest. The wind ripped at his home. He hooted for help, but no one could hear him above the storm. The forest was in danger, and the great owl needed their help. When the storm finally passed, the animals slowly came out of hiding. They were scared. The storm had been fierce, with howling winds and torrential rain that seemed to last forever. The once vibrant forest was now eerily silent, the usual chirping of birds and rustling of leaves replaced by an unsettling quiet. The animals, still trembling from the ordeal, looked around at the devastation. Trees were uprooted and the ground was littered with broken branches and leaves. It was a scene of chaos and destruction. The forest was a mess. The once lush and green canopy was now a tangle of broken limbs and fallen trees. Puddles of water reflected the gray sky, and the air was thick with the smell of damp earth. The animals moved cautiously, their eyes wide with fear and confusion. They had never seen their home in such a state. It was as if the very heart of the forest had been torn apart. They gathered around the great owl's nest. It was in shambles. The nest, once a symbol of wisdom and safety, was now a pile of broken twigs and leaves. The great owl, known for his wisdom and guidance, was an essential figure in the forest community. His nest, perched high in the tallest tree, had always been a place of refuge and counsel. Now it lay in ruins, and the sight filled the animals with a deep sense of loss. The great owl was trapped inside. Everyone was worried. The wise old owl, who had always been there to offer advice and comfort, was now in need of help himself. His feathers were ruffled, and his eyes, usually so calm and knowing, were filled with fear. The animals knew they had to do something, but they were at a loss. How could they possibly free the great owl from the tangled mess of his nest?
Oh no, the great owl is trapped. The realization hit them hard. The great owl, their leader and protector, was in danger. The animals exchanged worried glances, their minds racing with thoughts of how to rescue him. They had always relied on the great owl for guidance, and now it was up to them to find a way to help him. What are we going to do? The question hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. The animals looked at each other, hoping someone would have an answer. But the storm had left them all feeling helpless and unsure. They needed a plan, but where to start?
We need to help him. But how? The animals began to discuss possible solutions, their voices a mix of hope and desperation. Some suggested using sticks to lift the debris, while others thought they should call for help from other parts of the forest. But every idea seemed too risky or impractical. They needed something more, something that would ensure the great owl's safety.
I know everyone is scared, but we can't give up. The small fox, known for his bravery despite his size, stepped forward. His voice was steady, and his eyes shone with determination. He knew that giving up was not an option. The great owl had always been there for them, and now it was their turn to be there for him. Even though I'm small, I have a big heart. The fox's words resonated with the other animals. They knew he was right. It wasn't about size or strength. It was about courage and determination. The fox's bravery inspired them, and they began to feel a glimmer of hope. I'll find a way to help the great owl. The fox's declaration filled the animals with a renewed sense of purpose. They watched as he approached the nest. his mind racing with ideas. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to find a way to free the great owl.
Felix saw the fear in everyone's eyes. He understood their worry, but he also knew that fear could be overcome with determination and teamwork. The animals needed a leader, and Felix was ready to step up. He knew he had to do something. Felix took a deep breath and looked around at his friends. They were counting on him, and he couldn't let them down. He had to find a way to save the great owl. Felix felt a warmth in his paw. It was a strange sensation, one he had never felt before. He looked down and saw a faint glow emanating from his paw. It was as if the forest itself was giving him a sign. He remembered his shiny stones. The stones had always been a source of comfort for Felix, their gentle glow a reminder of the forest's magic. He had found them long ago hidden beneath a fallen log, and had kept them ever since. Maybe, just maybe, they could help. Felix held the stones tightly, feeling their warmth spread through him. He didn't know how, but he believed that these stones held the key to saving the great owl. With a determined look, he turned to the other animals and said, "Let's do this together!" Felix set off on his mission. The forest was alive with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. The air was fresh, filled with the scent of pine and earth. Felix's heart was filled with determination as he trotted along the familiar paths. He had to reach the great owl, the wise creature who lived deep within the heart of the forest. The great owl was known for his wisdom and guidance, and Felix needed his help to solve a pressing problem. But the storm had changed the forest. The once clear paths were now littered with fallen branches and debris. The trees, which once stood tall and proud, were now bent and broken. Felix had to navigate through this new, chaotic landscape. The path was blocked by a rushing stream. The water, which was usually a gentle trickle, was now a roaring torrent. The storm had turned the peaceful stream into a formidable barrier. The water was high and fast. It surged and swirled, carrying with it branches and leaves. Felix could feel the power of the water as he stood on the bank, contemplating his next move. It was too dangerous to cross. Felix knew that one wrong step could sweep him away. He had to find another way to reach the great owl.
What should I do now? Felix wondered aloud. He looked around, searching for a solution. The forest was quiet, as if holding its breath, waiting to see what he would do.
Felix sat down, wondering what to do. He knew he couldn't give up. The great owl was counting on him. He had to find a way to cross the stream. He couldn't let the water stop him. Felix's determination grew stronger. He had faced challenges before, and he knew he could overcome this one too.
I can't let this stream stop me. I have to find a way. Felix's voice was filled with resolve. He knew he had to think creatively and find a solution. I have to find a way. Felix began to explore the area, looking for anything that could help him cross the stream. He examined the trees, the rocks, and the fallen branches, searching for a potential bridge.
Felix closed his eyes and thought of the great owl. He remembered the wise words the owl had once told him. In every challenge, there is a solution. You just have to find it. Felix took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm wash over him. He took a deep breath and jumped. With all his strength, Felix leaped across the rushing stream. For a moment, he was suspended in the air, his heart pounding in his chest. He landed safely on the other side. Felix felt a surge of relief and joy. He had done it. He had crossed the stream.
I did it! I made it across! Felix exclaimed, his voice filled with triumph. He looked back at the stream, proud of his accomplishment.
Felix was proud of himself for being brave. He had faced a daunting challenge and had come out victorious. His confidence grew, knowing that he could overcome any obstacle. He knew he had to keep going. The journey was not over yet. The great owl was still waiting for him, and Felix was determined to reach him. He was getting closer to the great owl. With renewed determination, Felix continued his journey through the forest, ready to face whatever challenges lay